If you are staring at a check engine light and your scanner is flashing the code P0157, do not panic, because this is a common issue related to your oxygen sensor circuit having low voltage on bank 2 sensor 2. This specific code tells us there is a fault in the post-catalyst oxygen sensor, which is the one located directly behind your catalytic converter on the side of the engine that does not contain cylinder number 1. To understand what is happening, you need to know that your catalytic converter is there to clean up tailpipe emissions, and the computer uses this rear sensor to make sure that cleaning process is actually happening. It compares the reading from the front sensor to this rear sensor. Now, a healthy rear oxygen sensor should be pretty boring to watch. It should hover steadily around 0.45 volts, moving much slower than the front sensor. When you get a P0157, the signal voltage has dropped too low and stayed there. The good news is that this code rarely means your catalytic converter is dead, so do not rush to replace that expensive part just yet. Instead, the problem is usually the sensor itself, the wiring, or an exhaust leak. Since oxygen sensors measure oxygen, a small leak in the exhaust pipe near the sensor can let outside air in, tricking the sensor into thinking the engine is running lean and driving the voltage down. So, your first step is always to listen for exhaust leaks and fix those. If the exhaust is solid, you need to grab a scan tool or a voltmeter. With the engine running and warm, look at the voltage for bank 2 sensor 2. If it is stuck below 0.5 volts, the sensor is likely failing. However, before you spend money on a new part, you want to be sure it is not a wiring issue. Turn off the engine, unplug the sensor, and inspect the connector for corrosion or melted wires. You also need to make sure the sensor's heater circuit has battery voltage and a good ground, because if the heater is not working, the sensor cannot get hot enough to read correctly. If the wiring is good, you can try a little trick to test the computer. With the sensor unplugged and the ignition on, use a jumper wire to supply a ground to the signal wire on the computer side of the connector. If your scan tool now reads about half a volt, your computer and wiring are fine, and the sensor is definitely the culprit. Replacing that bank 2 sensor 2 oxygen sensor should clear your code and get you back on the road.